I'm really happy that you jumped on the Zoom call. I know it's kind of a last minute thing, but I am recording this just so you know. And my plan is to use clips of it because I started my YouTube channel, my Escape Hatch to Wellness on YouTube.
Okay.
And I'm building my website now. So I'm going to start, putting links out there. And my plan, one of my layers of my plan with the Escape Hatch, and the reason for it was it's tied to the nautical, that love of the sea. So the Escape Hatch was like a quick exit. So why bother changing? Why not just transform? It's a lot easier and quicker.
And I love that that reference because one, it's unique, but it's also, the visual of it is that we all escape hatch, and it's it's just a matter of finding where that escape hatch is for each one of us, and using it.
Well, I thought I would start doing podcasts, and my podcast, what I want to do as a spinoff from it is the Captain's Table Conversations. Because if you think about, as a former hostess, you could so relate to this. Because how often did you have some of the most random people at the table? And as the hostess, if you had an awkward captain, not that there are any of those out there, but
right. Out there.
So if they weren't great conversationalists, we had to hold the conversation, right? At a table for like sometimes 14, 16, 20 people. So I was on the phone. A coach needs a coach. So I have my coach, and we were talking about this. And she said to me one day, you have such a wide variety of subjects you can talk about. And I said, I can tell you, I think it's because of working on ships and the captain's table, because that's where I learned to be as versatile in my conversation. And I was like, oh, this should be the name of my podcast, the Captain's Table Conversation. So you're my first. So as the hostess, the social hostess, can you share, if you can think of a favorite story of a table that you had, or something that a guest did that really stood out for you, whether it's humorous, touching, just something that really left an impression on you over the years?
This was a Japanese-American couple in Alaska, and I had not met them previous to this incident, but it was the next morning that we got the bright star, which is the signal on home in America at the time that there was an emergency, something was happening in one of the cabins. So of course we all make it to the cabin, and this gentleman had died in the middle of the night in his sleep. And I sat there with the wife, and she was so calm. And I thought, I finally asked her, because usually in these situations, people are usually in shock or they're devastated. But this woman just was so calm, and I was so taken by it. And I thought, I finally asked her, I said, "Are you okay?" I said, "You seem to be handling this really well." Well, the story is that they knew he was going to die. He had congestive heart failure. And that all he wanted to see was Glacier Bay.
Oh.
He died the night after Glacier Bay.
Oh, that's so wonderful, though. We get to see it, though. What a way. That's beautiful.
Yeah, and it was just beautiful. And so, that experience, and we had multiple experiences with other types of death on board over the years. But that one, man, I tell you, there was nothing but just peace and inspiration behind it, of just embrace the moment and enjoy every moment, because none of us know how long we have on this earth. And it was amazing. So
that's beautiful. Yeah, those bright stars. I remember having to run often in my high heels, and I wasn't the queen of them. We have another social hostess who's a mutual friend who was the queen of them, who had them more than I think than anybody that I know of. So we'll have to invite her one time for a captain's table conversation. I wonder if she would share some of her experiences.
There are a lot. This is why we love ships, and I'm still connected and hope to still continue to be in the future after all of this passes. Everything's so uncertain with the cruise lines right now, but just got to go with the flow and do the best you can to let things fall into place the way they're meant to. So. Yep.
Well, do you mind if I share a funny story about a captain's table that I had also with Holland America? Um, it was captain's table night, formal night, and this particular captain was very smooth and very chatty, so it was an easy table. Which when it's an easy table like that, the conversation flows and you're part of it. You don't have to control it. You just get engaged, and it was just a nice evening. Until the one gentleman that was down to my left, luckily he wasn't sitting directly next to me, but we had whatever the entree was, I don't recall, except that it had broccoli as part of the vegetable as the side. And this particular gentleman had broccoli in his teeth, and he proceeded to remove his dentures and wash them in his water glass at the table.
Yeah, actually, do you remember Kissing Annie?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. Kissing Annie is another one of those characters. You know, there were a handful of characters that everyone who ever sailed with them always had a story, and she was one of those crazy characters that you just had to love. She had to dance with everyone, including the girls. And, you know, this was a world cruise passenger, so she, you know, everyone was on for several months at a time. And the moment toward the end of that cruise, when she would enter the lounge, all of the men would leave. And then she started fucking the girls. Oh yeah, gosh, so many great memories.
I know, beautiful memories. But yeah, you know what the thing is, it runs the full gamut. I mean, every emotion, I think, in the 15 years I actually worked on board, I can say that every emotion that's ever been identified in the English language, I witnessed displayed or even experienced myself, you know, and how I felt. Every level of human behavior from all cultures, all backgrounds, all ages, everything in that, you know, microcosm of that environment. And what an education. That is such an invaluable education that we had.
Well, and I'll tell you too, our experience on ships really has set a lot of people who have worked on ships up for these type of situations that we're going through right now.
Yep.
Because there's so much change. Every day is a change. Our bosses change. You know, I would have come on for my contract and maybe had 1 week left with the hotel manager, who was then going to go on vacation, and another one would be coming on, and everybody had their own styles.
Yep.
So we were always, you know, having to change our ways of doing things daily, which was a very unique opportunity to do that. And also pull in, I think one of my biggest takeaways from that experience is being able to pull all of what, you know, the managerial and leadership qualities of each person that you worked with, because, you know, there's some people who work with the same boss for like 30 years. And so we had that opportunity to, because if you don't like change, you don't need to work on ships.
No, no, it takes a specific kind of person to
really
work on
does.
ships. Yeah.
What a blessing that was, because, you know, it teaches you how to go with the flow. And, you know, I think about our colleagues now who are still with the cruise lines, you know, not just with the cruise lines, every industry is being impacted somehow. Of learning just to use those tools of going with the flow and using, you know, those tools to stay out of the constant stress mode of what's going to happen in the future. So
yeah, it's like worrying about only that which you know that you can physically, mentally, psychologically, emotionally control, because we can't control what's going on in Washington, D.C. I mean, our vote can, obviously, but when it comes time for the day-to-day management of how we are is really up to us in that moment. And that's the only thing that you can influence is yourself, and then those who are in your immediate surrounding and whoever you connect with. And I mean, it's just, I mean, you feel kind of helpless, but at the same time, if we have as individuals the capacity to grasp the concept that we can control and manage our minds through all of this and our emotions, then it might empower more people to be okay with where they are in their homes and waiting for the next thing to come up on the news or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you for joining me for today's Captain's Table Conversations with Yvette. Stay tuned for more and be sure to subscribe.